Hey Hoopty fans, it's been a little while. We're back with another video. Want to show you my Audi S6. Just bought this a little while ago back at the auction. It's actually one of the nicest cars I've bought from the auction. Just want to give you a quick overlook of it. Check it out. But first of all, cue my intro. Audi, a symbol of excellence in my opinion. So this car is a beautiful, beautiful color. It was actually at the auction, I bought it online sight unseen and it was listed as black. So I was pretty excited when I got it to see that it is this super cool metallic blue. Almost has a little bit of a purple look to it, but it's very dark. I mean, it does look almost black. I can see how someone at the auction made that mistake. If you're standing, 6 feet back from it and you're really not paying attention, it definitely could look a dark gray or black. It changes a little bit when the sun hits it though. It's a very good sun color. Now, I'm ecstatic about this car because it is ready to sell. I'm just waiting on the title to come in the mail from the DMV. It needed nothing. I've done absolutely nothing to this car. The paint is in spectacular condition. The wheels, something that we've done to a lot of cars is paint the wheels, but the wheels on this one are fine. They look very nice. Very good condition, very little curb rash, nice and shiny. I could have tinted the windows on this one, but I'm at a point in my business where I'm needing to just turn some cars over. It would have looked better with tinted windows, and I'm sorry, I said 6 at the beginning of the video. I already screwed up. As I walk around here, I remember it's an A4. A4. 2.0T Quattro. So the cool thing about Audis, if you're not an Audi follower, you don't know a lot about them, is almost all these things are all-wheel drive. Now, where I live, in West Virginia, all-wheel drive cars, I won't say that you have to have one. Thanks to global warming, our weather has gotten way, way better over the years. I mean, compared to when I was a kid, it snows so much less. But still, if you're someone, especially someone like me that works in emergency services, you've got to get to work. You've got to be mobile when it snows or when it's icy or when it's sleet or when it's hail or whatever it is. You don't get weather days off where I work, so you have to have something that can get around in the wintertime. And folks, if you've never driven one of these Audis, now of course it's not as good as a truck if you're talking about some deep snow. As you can see, it doesn't have amazing ground clearance. I mean, it's good. It's not unusually low, but if you got over 7-8 inches of snow, obviously you're going to start plowing, and you don't want to use your Audi to plow. So under that though, 6 inches of snow, which is pretty much our normal snow in this area, a 6-inch snow, this car couldn't be any better. You have a computer controlled four-wheel drive system, not a basic four-wheel drive system like most trucks have had in the past. This thing will put all the power to one wheel, or 25% to each wheel, or 75 to one, and then balance the others. Wherever it can get the traction is where it will put the power, and it's an instant system that you never feel it. All right, let's check it out inside. We'll look in the trunk first since I'm already out here. Boom. Nice big trunk. The coolest thing about sedans, one of the many reasons I don't like SUVs as much as sedans, I know I'm in the minority in that these days, is having a nice big trunk like this. I mean, I know in an SUV you have a good bit of space too in the back, but it's not the same. Got the spare tire there, got all the tools, see the jacks down there. That's one thing we try to check with these auction cars, because a lot of times they don't have that stuff. And I mean, I haven't bought one that didn't have it because I've been careful, but that stuff can be, very expensive to replace. Now this Audi, move my tools, sorry. This Audi, the interior is this, you know, dark brown, and it's just beautiful. I mean, this is probably one of the most attractive things about the car, in my opinion. Check out the inside here. Sorry, my files are sitting there. Hey there, how you going, D? All right. Sorry, I had to say hello to someone. So start her up. Let's turn the music off so we don't get demonetized. Not that I'll ever make any money off this anyway, but you know, just getting in here and looking around. This is a really, really nice interior. Now this car is a 2012. I hope that's right. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself and put it on screen. But I'm pretty sure it's a 2012. You can see the mileage there, 51,953, so very low mileage for its age. Then you see the trip miles there is how much I've driven. Now, I've driven it 587 miles, so I've gotten some good use out of it since I've had it. Glove box, very clean. Got this thing detailed just the other day by my friend Jason McDaniel, who's going to start doing a good bit of details for me. I don't know the name of his business, or I would give it a plug, but Jason McDaniel. I'll put a link to his Facebook in here if you want to get your car detailed by him in your local here to Clarksburg or Bridgeport, or he's actually from Taylor County, but it's all general area. This car is an automatic. You see it has the sport shift, which a lot of cars have now, but you know, back when this one came out, you know, Volkswagen and Audi were one of the first cars that I ever saw that had it. Actually, a Volkswagen Passat Sport model was one of the first cars I ever saw with sport shift like that. I'm sure they had it in much more expensive cars, but in cars that I saw and I could afford, that was one of the first cars I saw it in. So this has kind of 2012 technology, unfortunately. It has a screen, but it doesn't have a backup camera. It does have satellite radio, which even has kind of become not that cool anymore. Of course, you can adjust a lot of the options of the car in here. There's your telephone, and the telephone stuff on it is decent. I mean, it doesn't like read out your text messages, and it won't send text messages, but of course you can answer your phone and everything like that, and that's actually pretty impressive. It sounds really good. It's good for that. So it is 2012 technology. No backup camera, no GPS. You know, even though this was kind of a top of the line car, it just doesn't have that stuff. It was harder to get, you know, maybe in a nice Mercedes or something that may have had it this year, but not this car. Kind of cool, the sunroof. I hope I got that in the camera. I think I do. It's like a dial. So you pick how far you want to open it. You can see it'll stop, or you can go all the way. You can half open it. I don't know. Maybe that's not as cool as I think it is. I've just never seen one with a, you know, dial, and it has, you know, stops where it clicks. So it's not just a button you hold back to open it. There's a sunglass holder there. I didn't even notice that until I started talking to the camera. Couple lights, nothing unusual, you know, kind of the standard stuff you would expect in a car like this. It does have the buttons for the garage doors. I have not programmed those because I'm going to sell this thing, so I won't have it long enough to worry about that. Controls over here, the lights. It's got the auto like most cars do, and then the parking lights, and then the lights on. I pretty much have been leaving it on auto. But what I don't understand, these are the fog lights. I don't know what these are. And I don't know why that button is yellow when you hit it. I wonder if it might be burned out or something. I'm going to have to consult the owner's manual and find out about that. But anyway, not a lot to show on this car. Not a lot. It's not an overcomplicated car. It's kind of basic. But I think that's a positive thing in this kind of car. This car is just, you know, very high quality. When you drive it, it feels very heavy. It feels very sure of itself. You know, there's not a lot of road play or anything like that. And man, for a 2-liter 4-cylinder, this thing accelerates like a beast. I mean, Let's just go for a little spin. I don't have my mounted camera today. All right, I'm debuting a new camera angle. Once again, let's turn the music off so we don't get in trouble with YouTube. All right. Here we go. I almost got ran over. Let's go for a ride in the Audi. So the most impressive thing about the Audi, like I said, it feels different than most cars. Can't really put my finger on exactly why that is. I mean, there's nothing overly special about it. 2-liter turbo. So if you hear it vibrating too on the video, that's actually my dealer plate in the back window, so don't think it's a car. Anyway, so what makes this car special is okay, it feels very heavy, though it's really not. The steering wheel is very fat, which makes it feel very substantial. I know that sounds kind of dumb because something so small for it to affect my opinion of the car, but the fat steering wheel, I mean, it's just really nice to grip and hold on to, and the responsiveness of the car. It's not super fast. Obviously, at least in my experience, I shouldn't say any, but any 4-cylinder turbo is not, crazy fast when you push the gas off the line. It takes it a second kind of to come to life. This one, it's maybe about 3,500, 4,000 RPMs, but when it kicks in, I mean, it's not comparable to like a sports car. It's not comparable to one of my Porsches or to a Corvette or even a Camaro or something like that. It's not that fast, but man, it gets up and goes. I mean, it's a very, very responsive car. And the most attractive thing about it is when you get it in some turns and see how this thing holds the road. Now, I'm a little bit of a bad driver. When I say I'm a bad driver, it's because I'm a good driver. I've never had any big crashes in many years. Had a couple of those in my teen years where I overestimated my driving skill and exceeded what the car was capable of, or took the car to a point that I wasn't capable of controlling it. I've done that a couple times in my life. I think I'm a little smarter and a little better driver in my older age though, so I don't really have those problems anymore. But I think that kind of crash would be really, really hard to have in this car because of the all-wheel drive and because of how heavy, and I guess the word I want to use is like sure. It feels very sure of itself. Like, it makes you feel very sure too. Sure is a great word for this car. I don't feel like it's going to slide out from under me. I don't feel like it's going to do anything unexpected. Like, it does exactly what I would want it to do. I mean, to the point of perfection, like a video game or something almost. I mean, it seems like no matter how fast you're going, I'm gonna stop here at Sheetz and get a drink if you're wondering where I'm going. Okay, so anyway, we're done with the Sheetz, back on the road. So here comes our official test. We got a nice straightaway over here. Hopefully there's no police officers on it right now. We'll light this thing up a little bit. All right, so we're in sport shift. You see it kind of hesitates on takeoff, but then at 4,000 RPMs, rock and roll. It's 60. Woo! Yeah. I'm telling you, man. It's a strong little car. For a car that is, you know, 2.0 4-cylinder, it's a turbo, getting, I don't know, somewhere in the range of 30 miles a gallon. To have that kind of power at your command is pretty impressive. All right. We're going to bust this car's ass now. As you can see, folks, that's 90, 96, 98. Woo! Yeah, I'm going to let back off because we're coming into a city where they run radar a lot here, but man, I'm telling you, this little car, once again, for a comfortable size, nice handling, you know, economic car that's getting 30 miles a gallon or close to it, maybe 28. I don't want to oversell it too much. It's in that range though. On the highway, I guarantee it's probably getting 30. But this is just a rocket ship of a little car. Actually, we are going to, I don't know how much of this I'll actually use for the video, but I know it's still running, so we're going to actually swing a U-turn here. Now we know there's no police. Run the other direction too. You know, it's not as satisfying as a manual to drive one of these, but man, it is satisfying. I mean, it's nice to just have that control to upshift and downshift when you feel it's necessary, or just when you want to for the fun. I mean, I like to drive it clear to the red line. And what's kind of cool about the sport mode in these cars, it works that way pretty much in all cars with this kind of mode, I think, is if you put it in sport mode and then you don't shift, it'll just run it as high as it possibly can without damaging the car, which is the ideal shifting spot, you know, if you're trying to get maximum acceleration. So, cost. This car did come from the Mountain State Auto Auction here in Shinston, West Virginia. It's really in Bridgeport. It has a Shinston address though, so we'll call it Shinston, West Virginia. So, what I paid for this car, my bid was like $11,600. All in, it was 12 something. Don't ask me exactly, 12.3 or yeah, I think 12.2, 12.3. The book value on this car is more like 18 something. So this should be a very good money maker for me. Now I don't try to squeeze the absolute top value out of every car. You know, Kelley Blue Book gives you, does it give you 3 or 4? I forget. So I think it gives you, I don't know. I think it's 4. They give you 4 levels. So on a 1 to 4 scale, I would give this car like a 3.5. And the only reason I'm not giving it a 4 is because right up on the front of the hood there are some chips, and they're pretty noticeable with this dark color. So I don't want to say it's a, you know, absolutely perfect mint 4, but it's a solid 3.5. With the mileage being under 52,000 for this age car, and how this car looks and how it's obviously been cared for, this is by far the nicest car I think you could get for under $18,000. So I'll probably list it for 18. I might even list it for 18.5, but you know, if somebody makes me a decent offer, especially if it's cash, I'll jump all over it. As long as I'm making some money. You know, I'm not trying to make my whole year's profit on one car. So just in general though, Audis are probably going to become one of my favorite things to buy. My mechanic, Taryn, is a Volkswagen Audi guy. It's what he's best at working on. So I'm not giving him in general, anything he hasn't seen before. Like, these cars are what he has worked the most on. He's owned them. He has a GTI, you know, and I think he's had some other Volkswagens. He's got a Rabbit. He's a Volkswagen enthusiast. So it is a good plan for me to buy these cars because I know that Taryn can fix this car. One thing about this car, when we got it, the check engine light was on, and they had advertised it as maybe 600 plus for repairs. And Taryn was able to fix it just by messing with the engine a little bit. Don't ask me what. There was some part he replaced that was super cheap. I think it was under $50, but you know, that is the kind of deal that I need to make this a profitable business. So you got to play to your strengths. Volkswagen, Audi, I think are going to become one of the main things that we deal with at Vintage Variety, which actually makes sense because on our original logo and design is the front of a Beetle, so makes sense.